All right, if you got an IRS CP2000 notice or proposed amount due, under reporting, missed some income on your original return, the IRS gave you one of these lovely notices. Well, I'll let you know how to respond, and more specifically, how we responded to this case where the guy missed reporting 1099 income from Uber. All right, so here we go. This is the original notice that he received here. Okay, just saying, hey, you'll see right there, right? CP2000 notice. He missed, looks like DoorDash as well, right? DoorDash and Uber that we missed there. Looks like 12,000 on total. Those 1099s plus Uber, we got another 56K there, right? This is not chump change, right? He's got over like 67K-ish, 68K in 1099s that he did not report, all right? And the IRS is coming through saying, oh, we're proposing an amount due, right, for 25K, not chump change. So here is how we responded to this. All right, first and foremost, the way we responded is we filled out this basic response form, right? At the bottom of your original CP2000, you have this right here. We check this box saying we disagree with the changes. And why are we disagreeing with the changes? Well, the reason we're disagreeing in this case is that the taxpayer client wants to report expenses against the 1099, right? He had, 68K of 1099 from Uber, but he also drove, so he wants to claim mileage, right? He had some supplies, so we're claiming those expenses as well. That's why we are disagreeing. All right, so that's exactly what we're doing here, right? We're also creating a statement saying, hey, we disagree because we want to include expenses. And the way we're going to do that is filling out the forms that we should have filled out had we done this properly from the get-go, okay? And these are the forms that we're filling out. And so this is exactly what I did here for the client, okay? Rideshare, right, 68K, we put total 1099 that we missed on a Schedule C here, and then did a ton of mileage here, specifically, right, like 35,000 miles, wow, in 1 year on the car. And then on top of that, looks like we have some additional expenses, of which were some basic stuff, right? Some Uber fees, phone, and some subscriptions that, he's paying for. In addition, we got a little home office expense that we're also including here. So that's also what I included in our response, a little home office expense, okay? Also, I'm including, right, the self-employment tax that he's going to have to pay, unfortunately. But instead of on the 65K, he should pay self-employment tax on the net after expenses, right? Let's say 7K there. All right, is there anything else I sent over? QBI, he qualifies for the QBI deductions. It's like a 20%-ish deduction on the bottom line of the business that we also do get a deduction for. So I am also claiming that here in my response. So if this is something that happened to you, a response statement like this definitely works, okay? All right, so the next thing we did is, hey, we got to get now our response sent off to the IRS. So you'll see here in the response form, they're giving us the option to do this online, and that's what I would recommend. This is kind of like the fastest way to process these things is to send it online. So you'll see this email address, right? irs.gov/DUT reply, and then they give us like an access code here. You'll see, well, redacted, but nonetheless, they give us an access code to use. So I'll show you exactly that here. All right, so that's exactly what we do, irs.gov/DUT-REPLY. Voila, you go right in. Okay, and it's asking right here if we have that access code, and in our case, we'd say yes. Type in the access code, and then fill out the information here. So in this case, it was for a 2022 tax year. We're going to say this is for a test dummy. Test dummy. Here we go. We'll do a bogus social. And which IRS office did this correspondence come from? So it's going to tell you kind of how to find that. You can look on the first page of the original notice, and we'll see here the first page, right? Ogden, Utah. That's where this is coming from. So we would go ahead and select that here, Ogden, Utah. So, if you're uploading on behalf of taxpayer, right, I would check that box. If you agree, we don't agree. So I'm not checking either of those boxes. Well, I would check that for them in their case, but in your case, if you're doing it for yourself, you wouldn't check either of these boxes. How did you hear about this, right? I would just say received a letter. Click next. And then right here, you would just upload your document, right? I would essentially throw it just kind of like how I did it, my response here. I put it all into one PDF just to make it a whole lot easier. I just uploaded it and hit submit, and that's it. And then you'll get like a confirmation after that. Obviously, you want to save a copy of that confirmation just in case, just in case. And then last but not least, we finally heard back from the IRS. They did make a change. And of course, obviously, this guy's not good at scanning stuff over to me, but we did get a copy of the results here, right? And you'll see essentially his bottom line went down to $7,700 that he owed, right? He still had to pay something. He did make something with Uber, but it wasn't the full amount that they originally had proposed, right? That $25,000 that they have over here. Okay, this took what? November of 24 is when we first got the notice. This came through February. So it was 3-ish months that this took to process. So not too long. Hope the video was helpful. If it was, do the usual, like, share, subscribe, hit the buttons. Also, we do have a playlist on CP2000 videos. This is a lot of what I do here. So if this wasn't exactly what you were looking for, maybe I got another video out there for you that explains maybe your situation, stocks, home sale, things like that. Be sure to check that out. Thank you so much, guys.